Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe if you're into breaking down power not through politics or history alone, but through psychology. Because today, we're exploring something that's shaped nations, ended millions of lives, and still influences global leadership: the psychological profile of a dictator. When we think of dictators, we often imagine the obvious: control, brutality, paranoia, ego. But psychology offers something deeper. It doesn't just describe what dictators do, it helps explain why they do it, and more importantly, why some people become dangerously loyal to them. Let's start with one core trait: narcissism. Many authoritarian leaders exhibit grandiose narcissism. They believe they are uniquely destined, morally superior, and above criticism. But it's not just ego, it's fragile ego. That's why dissent feels like betrayal, and why even mild resistance can provoke extreme reaction. Now add in Machiavellianism, the tendency to manipulate, deceive, and exploit others for personal gain. Dictators often see people not as citizens, but as tools or threats. Their worldview is transactional. Loyalty earns protection. Dissent earns punishment. And then there's psychopathy. Not always in the clinical sense, but in the lack of remorse, shallow empathy, and readiness to use cruelty as strategy. Together, these traits form what psychologists call the Dark Triad. Not every strong leader has it, but most dictators, they score high across the board. Let's take real examples. Adolf Hitler exhibited extreme grandiosity and obsession with symbolic purity. Stalin's paranoia led to the purging of allies and enemies alike. Idi Amin was notorious for brutal sadism paired with absurd public delusions. More recently, some leaders have pushed their countries into repression through democratic systems, slowly eroding institutions while building a personality cult that replaces reason with loyalty. And this is where the psychology of the followers matters just as much as the leaders. People don't follow dictators because they love cruelty. They follow them because of emotional needs, fear of instability, desire for simple answers, yearning for national pride, and relief in having someone else take control. Authoritarians exploit these needs by offering certainty, even when it's dangerous or false. And here's the trap. Once a leader positions themselves as the only one who can fix it, criticism becomes treason, truth becomes optional, and cruelty becomes justified. This is where groupthink, identity fusion, and moral disengagement take hold. People stop thinking critically and start thinking tribally. They defend the leader at all costs, even as freedoms erode. So what's the warning here? It's not just about them, it's about us. Because these patterns don't only exist in history books, they exist in the present. In leaders who demand loyalty over law, in citizens who excuse lies as strength, in systems that reward charisma and punish transparency. Dictators don't rise alone. They rise through the psychological weaknesses of a population and the blind spots of democratic systems. So ask yourself, am I supporting a leader or worshiping one? Because when the person becomes bigger than the principle, when questioning becomes betrayal, when fear becomes loyalty, you're no longer in a democracy. If this episode gave you a new lens to see power with, like this video, comment and subscribe to the channel. Because people shape power, and psychology explains people, this is P3 perspective.